Astronomer Carl Sagan famously claimed that the cosmos is all that is, or was, or ever will be. This statement functions as a declaration of faith, an absolute claim about the nature of all existence that falls entirely outside the reach of scientific proof. Even a purely materialistic worldview relies on a framework of belief, using the unconscious laws of chemistry and physics to explain everything from the birth of the universe to the origins of human morality. Opening the Pandora's box of worldviews reveals a chaotic spread of options, from Taoism's cosmic energy to the millions of deities found within Hinduism. When even a materialistic universe requires a leap of faith to explain the human experience, it becomes clear that we all operate within some chosen framework. The task, then, is to find a reliable metric to evaluate them. For billions of people, specifically followers of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, their entire view of reality rests on the validity of ancient words. This distinguishes them from many Eastern philosophies. The Hindu Vedas, for example, serve as spiritual guides and oral legends, rather than historical records meant to be cross-referenced with archaeology. The Quran, the Torah, and the Bible operate differently, making hard, verifiable claims about specific dates, locations, and human history. If a belief system claims its founding text is literal history, that text must be able to survive the strict, objective standards of historical scrutiny. This raises a central investigative question. How do historians know that any ancient text hasn't been completely altered or corrupted over thousands of years? Scholars look at two primary metrics: the total number of surviving manuscript copies and the time gap between the original events and the earliest surviving fragment. We can set a baseline using figures every scholar accepts. Take the philosopher Plato. History relies on just 7 surviving manuscript copies of his work. No historian doubts the military accounts of Julius Caesar, even though we only have 10 manuscript copies, written a full 1,000 years after the events. For ancient literature, the gold standard is Homer's Iliad, which boasts over 600 surviving copies, an exceptionally high number for the ancient world. Much of what we accept as unquestionable ancient history is actually built on a small number of documents separated from their authors by many centuries. Now, let's take those accepted historical benchmarks and apply them to the New Testament. This chart reveals a staggering statistical gap. On the bottom row, the New Testament has 29,664 surviving copies. Looking at the time span column, the gap between the original writings and our earliest fragments drops to mere years or decades. Against Caesar's 10 copies, the biblical data is a massive mathematical anomaly. No other ancient text comes close to this level of manuscript preservation. Even the Quran provides a layer of cross-validation, telling its followers to ask those reading the previous scriptures for certainty and truth. By purely historical and literary standards, the Bible stands head and shoulders above every other ancient text in existence. Such significant historical validity means this book cannot be easily dismissed as naive myth or brushed aside by a determined lack of belief. These highly preserved pages make absolute claims about why evil exists, how we got here, and what our ultimate purpose is. The American writer Ernest Hemingway once observed that the world breaks everyone, a reality that rings true in our own hurts and fears. We challenge you to move beyond the manuscript statistics and approach this text with an open mind toward the brokenness Hemingway described. By looking into the most scrutinized book in human history, you may unexpectedly encounter Yahweh Rapha, the God who heals.